the sound here? There we go. That should work. Yes, we have sound. And so, we were in chapter 16 of last week. And here we are, 17. We're going to actually do 17 and 18. Good morning, everyone. I don't know if I said that yet. I think we should have some folks online here soon. We have one person online. Any thoughts on last week's? Anybody think about Yom Kippur, the day after Thursday? Anybody do any digging on that?
Didn't do digging, but it was on the news.
Yeah. And so you actually, your ear was perked. You're like, oh, Yom Kippur, yeah, that's great. Somebody online had shared something with me, but I've forgotten what they said. But they kind of had that too. And so I think the next time, you might be able to remember something about Yom Kippur every year. You see it on the calendar now. So, anything else from last week? We talked about the scapegoat specifically, and all of this is a lot of times what we're reading in Leviticus is kind of comes to fulfillment in the person of Jesus Christ, the final sacrifice. Today we're going to talk about blood. The blood shed on the cross, we think of in Jesus. The blood given, the lifeblood given to us in, with, and under wine in the Holy Supper and the Lord's Supper. Blood's a big deal. It's also something we don't like to see. American medicine, go to any hospital, I don't think you'll ever see blood unless it's just briefly. It's your own blood, but they get that stuff wiped up pretty darn quick. But things get bloody, don't they? Blood is a reality, and blood was a big deal back in the day. We'll get into that here in chapter 17. In verse 1 of chapter 17, it says, "And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and his sons, and to all the people of Israel." So I'm emphasizing that because it's not just, sometimes these conversations are between Aaron and his sons, or Aaron, Moses, you name it. But now it is to all the people of Israel, and say to them, "This is the thing that Yahweh has commanded. If any one of the house of Israel kills an ox or lamb or goat in the camp, or kills it outside the camp, and does not bring it to the entrance of the tent of meeting to offer it as a gift to Yahweh in front of the tabernacle of Yahweh, blood guilt shall be imputed to that man." They are guilty of bloodshed. They are guilty of murdering, in a sense. Okay, we're just going to pause there because there's going to be more of this to come. And we're going to think about, so basically it's saying, if any one of you kills an ox or lamb or goat in or outside the camp, but does not bring it to the tent of meeting to offer it as a gift to Yahweh in front of the tabernacle of Yahweh, it will be as though, before God, before the eyes of Yahweh, it will be as though they murdered that animal. And there are consequences, punishment. So what is the big deal? Does this seem like normal to you today? Does this seem like not a big deal? What do we think here? Why is Yahweh so adamant about not letting this happen?
Because he wants the animals to just be sacrificed?
He wants the animals just to be sacrificed. Perhaps. I want you to be looking at why this is such a big deal in the eyes of Yahweh. And I want you to be thinking about cultures or religions beyond this relationship, this covenant relationship with Yahweh God. I think when we first read this, it just sounds like don't do this. And we're reading about laws from way back when, and that's as far as it goes. But as we read it, we think contextually about like what surrounds us. And I think there's more to this. Well, I know there's more to it that I don't think many of us pick up on, but it will come. So he has shed blood, and that man shall be cut off from among his people. Verse 5. This is to the end that the people of Israel may bring their sacrifices that they sacrifice in the open field, that they may bring them to Yahweh, to the priest at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and sacrifice them as sacrifices of peace offerings to Yahweh. I keep emphasizing Yahweh just to kind of personalize this. Obviously, we know this is Yahweh when we say the Lord. We've gone over why it says the Lord, but think about it personally. There's no other Lord. Yahweh is who is speaking to Moses, and this covenant relationship is between the people and Yahweh. Verse 6, and the priest shall throw blood on the altar of the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and burn the fat for a pleasing aroma to Yahweh. So they shall no more sacrifice their sacrifices to goat demons, after whom they whore. Okay, there's the clue. So everything we've read, it sounds like you shall not slaughter any animal without bringing it to the tent of meeting. Or not any animal, but an ox, a lamb, or a goat. It sounds, the way I read it at first, is that if you're going to have a meal of a goat or lamb or an ox, you got to take it to the tent of meeting to present it to the Yahweh as a sacrifice. But were they allowed to eat goat for daily consumption? There's the ways that some could. In certain sacrifices, if you remember last season where I don't remember what they were, but there were certain avenues by which after the sacrifices, some of the sacrifices the meat was used to feed the priests, and some of the sacrifices the meat was used to feed the people, the non-priests. So I'm going to read this verse again, verse 7. So they shall no more sacrifice their sacrifices to goat demons, after whom they whore. Whore. What is whoring around? What is a whore? It's associated with prostitution. It's not prescribed relation. It's unhealthy relationships, right? Prostitution. A whore is a prostitute. A whore is someone. It's inappropriate. So whoring is inappropriate relations. You could maybe say a lot of Leviticus is having proper relationships with Yahweh. If you think about the commandments, they're kind of how to have proper relationships with God. This is all, helping the Israelites understand what is okay and what is not okay. So what is going on contextually, you think? Let's ask the question, where did the Israelites reside for a while, for a good 400 years? Egypt. And where are they wandering? And where are they camping out? The land of Canaan. So their past of Egypt is not like our past understanding of Egypt. Like, we read about Egypt in their past, and it just all seems a long time ago. this is still fairly fresh, within months to years, right? So past Egypt, future, and even current within the text, Canaan. Your homework could be to study religion of these two cultures. Egyptians, if you remember right, or if I remember right, and if you remember right or wrong, or at all, the Egyptians did not associate. They avoided Israelites. They separated. They were seemed like too good for the Israelites, so they separated themselves. Meals were generally very close. Even during the time of Jesus, to have a meal with somebody was, there was no restaurants you went to. When you had a meal with somebody, it was an action of trust. And so anyway, you got the past, you got Egypt, you have their religious capacities. You have a Pharaoh who slaughtered all the firstborn. You have a lot of stuff there. But then in Canaan, I think if you guys read into Canaan and its religious practices, it would help one to understand what God is doing here in Leviticus. I believe child sacrifice. Like, think of the craziest religions. It's not allowed anymore, and so we forget that this even happened. But the culture of Canaan, took children to sacrifice them to their gods, their little g gods, as an act of whoring after other gods. That this is inappropriate in the eyes of Yahweh. So if Israel came from Egypt and they're going to Canaan and they both practice these multiple god religions, and how they act upon them was surrounding them, what do you think some in Israel were interested in doing? They were interested in sacrificing to other gods. So, I don't know if this makes sense, but God establishes a right sacrificial system with the tabernacle, but he's dealing with people that were raised in this culture and are living in this culture, and they're still taking goats and they're sacrificing them in other places. And so what's going on there? They're breaking the what commandment? The first commandment. You shall have no other gods. Okay? So if you understand this, it might make more sense as to why this is such a big deal. They still have the habits of what surrounds them to deal with. And so God says no to that. You will not make sacrifices aside from the ones in the system that I have prescribed to you. Okay? Any thoughts? Final line is, this shall be a statute forever for them throughout their generations. Verse 8, and you shall say to them, any one of the house of Israel or the strangers who sojourn among them, so this is those who are not genetically Israelite, but they sojourn, they live amongst them, which they're okay with, who offers a burnt offering or sacrifice and does not bring it to the entrance of the tent of meeting to offer it to Yahweh, that man shall be cut off from his people. So that's just adding that it's not so if you have resident aliens, where do the resident aliens come from? other places? Do other places have Yahweh in a right relationship? Nope. So they probably bring in with their tradition their own religion. And that might be part of what's going on here. And what's going on here, that God allows the resident alien to live amongst them. That's pretty tremendous. But if you're going to live amongst the Israelites as a resident alien, you observe these statutes given to the Israelites as well. Verse 10, if any one of the house of Israel or the strangers who sojourn among them eats any blood, I will set my face against that person who eats blood and will cut him off from among his people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood. And I have given it to you on the altar to make atonement for your souls, for it is the blood that makes atonement for the life. Therefore I have said to the people of Israel, no person among you shall eat blood, neither shall any stranger who sojourns among you eat blood. So I'd nearly bet the farm that sacrifice had to do with consuming blood. We've seen it depict on some old movies sometimes, or movies that depict the history, or where do you see people drinking blood on movies? I'm thinking, I got something, I just can't put a word to it. You got vampire movies. So I think for most of you, what do you think of when you think about this command not to drink blood, consume blood? What's the bloodiest thing you may eat?
Red meat.
Red meat? This, to be fair, I don't think this applies to you now, but when I read it, I think about those people who love blood sausage, right? The sausage is made with blood. So I wonder sometimes how they read it. Now, I don't know if I actually like blood sausage. I don't think I do. So I'm off the hook. I don't feel as bad. No. That's how I read most of the text, is from a personal experience of what are the bloodiest things I eat. And I don't think, to be fair, I don't think the red meat, I don't think it's the same thing. I think you're absolutely right in bringing it up. I think we all could say that, because the red is the blood, right? There's still blood in the meat. You cook it. If you don't cook it all the way and you put it on the plate, there's blood coming out of it, right? Whether you like it, if you like it more on the raw side or medium well, yeah. So what I think maybe the process, the way I understand it, is when an animal is killed, you drain the blood. The blood that comes out of the flesh, that is what is not to be consumed, okay? I think we are far more precise and technical in how we think about things today. And we see the blood in the meat and we say, whoa, how can they even eat meat if it's got how are you sucking all the blood out of the meat? Maybe it's with the sacrifice, that's how they see the blood go away. You know what I mean? It'd be interesting to know it'd be interesting to know how well done did the meat have to be. I would probably venture a guess that it needed to be pretty well done, but I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm curious. I don't think they seared meat, fast heat. I'm guessing everything was over a fire, and if you've ever cooked over a fire, it takes kind of a longer time, because the heat, it's kind of like a marshmallow. If you get the marshmallow too close to the flame, it burns. So if you don't want it to burn, you got to be patient. Okay, so in this time period, blood was life, okay? But I think surrounding this, culturally speaking, is other religions, think Egypt and Canaan, that utilize the blood, that value the blood as a way of engaging false gods. So Yahweh is saying, do not do this. When we hear that Yahweh is a jealous God, I mean, he demands everything. He doesn't want you playing around with other gods. This is what we call idolatry. This is like, if you remember the session on the Ouija board. Like, this is why we don't support the use of a Ouija board, because it's inviting the outside dark world to enter into your experience. Okay, that would be where that comes from. So, verse 13: any one of us. Any one also of the people of Israel, or the strangers who sojourn among them, who takes in hunting any beast or bird that may be eaten, shall pour out its blood and cover it with earth. Okay, let me read that again. Anyone also of the people of Israel, or the strangers who sojourn among them, who takes in hunting any beast or bird that may be eaten, shall pour out its blood and cover it with the earth. Okay, that's telling us, do not consume the blood of the animal. For the life of every creature is in its blood. Its blood is its life. Therefore I have said to the people of Israel, you shall not eat the blood of any creature, for the life of every creature is its blood. Whoever eats it shall be cut off. And every person who eats what dies of itself, or what was torn by beasts. Okay, so if you come upon an animal that's dead in the wilderness, most of us say, gross. It's beyond salvaging. But let's say you come upon an animal in the domestic, like your cow dies or something like that, or that which has been attacked by predators. This applies to it. So every person who eats what dies of itself, or what was torn by beasts, whether he is a native or a sojourner, shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until evening. Then he shall be clean. But if he does not wash them or bathe his flesh, he shall bear his iniquity. So when we think of uncleanliness, we think wrong. But what is uncleanliness? Uncleanliness is not really wrong in the Exodus and Leviticus. Uncleanliness is just God's way of helping you form a right relationship with Him. So in a sense, it's like it's okay to be unclean. God has a way to be made clean. Okay, so it's not saying you shouldn't do this. It's just admitting that you're unclean and you must do the process to become clean again. That is to wash clothes, bathe them, and bathe oneself in water. Make sense? All right. Not all at once, folks. Chapter 18. And the Lord Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the people of Israel and say to them, I am the Lord your God. You shall not do as they do in the land of Egypt. Here it is. Where you lived, and you shall not do as they do in the land of Canaan, which is where I'm bringing you. And you shall not walk in their statutes. You shall follow my rules and keep my statutes and walk in them. Here it is again. I am Yahweh, your God. Verse 5, you shall therefore keep my statutes and my rules. If a person does them, he shall live by them. He will live because he does that. Finally, again, the third time, I am Yahweh. So this is kind of a prep to the next few chapters to come. Chapters 18, 19, and 20 are a chiasm. So 18 and 20 are the outside, and then the stuff that's emphasized is in chapter 19 in the middle. We'll get to that next week. I don't think any of you are going to ask any questions about what we're about to read. But it's basically uncover the nakedness is a softer way of saying having sex, sexual relations. So We'll just read through it and then I'll comment. So, verse 6. None of you shall approach any one of his close relatives to uncover nakedness. I am Yahweh. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father, which is the nakedness of your mother. She is your mother. You shall not uncover her nakedness. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's wife. It is your father's nakedness. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your sister, your father's daughter, or your mother's daughter, whether brought up in the family or in another home. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter, for their nakedness is your own nakedness. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's wife's daughter, brought up in your father's family, since she is your sister. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's sister. She is your father's relative. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your mother's sister, for she is your mother's relative. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's brother, that is, you shall not approach his wife. She is your aunt. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your daughter-in-law. She is your son's wife. You shall not uncover her nakedness. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your brother's wife. It is your brother's nakedness. You shall not uncover the nakedness of a woman and of her daughter. You shall not take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness. They are relatives. It is depravity. All right, well, I'm going to stop there. And so remember what I said, uncover nakedness is sexual relations. What is sexual relations? It's intimate. That's intimacy. That is closeness. That is, it is also procreation. That is the capacity to bring sons and daughters into the world. Sex is not just brought up here, okay, in chapter 18, verse 6. Remember back in 17, verse 7, the term whoring. And so whoring is having inappropriate sexual relations, inappropriate intimate relations, relationships not appropriate or proper if you're going to be a part of Yahweh's kingdom. Okay? So as weird as it is to read 6 through 17 or 18, or just what we don't normally talk about much at church, this is the whole intimacy, sex, knowing your spouse, knowing his sex. It's kind of all throughout. Why, I don't think you're going to answer this, but why is God telling them that they can't have sex with these relatable folks? I don't know if that makes sense. Why is God not allowing this? Well, it's depravity. That's probably where we should leave it. But why is it depravity? And maybe we can't answer that. Because to a certain extent, it's what God has instructed, right? What happens? So think about Thanksgiving, family gathering. What happens if this stuff is going on? How does the family gathering go? See? Yeah. So I think what it seems to most of us, or all of us, I think it's like a no-brainer. But if you think about Egypt and Canaan, this kind of stuff was probably happening. So what God has established here is, before it became almost like common sense to all of us, or most all of us in the room, this wasn't common sense. And so God's drawing the line in all these places. I don't think he's got any idea of Thanksgiving in the United States by any means, but it helps us understand that, It,
It's also talking about incest, isn't it?
right. But, okay, so incestuous relationships, how would you define that, since you brought it up?
Relatives. It's sex between relatives.
Sex between biological relatives? Is that what you're saying? And what is the result of an incestuous relationship between biological relatives?
Children are infected
How are they affected?
physically and mentally.
Are you saying there's maybe genetic
Yeah.
deformities and stuff?
Yeah.
So how do you explain Cain and Abel then? Or not Cain and Abel. So Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, who do they marry?
Well, like you said, the genetics were okay back then.
Yes.
You.
You listen. Yeah. Very good. No, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I think it's just, I think today that's what we carry. We think the incestuous is the deformities that can come from, the genetics. I don't know if that's the case here, but that certainly seems that's one reason why it's not allowed in this day and age, because it's just not good, right?
It's going to cause many other problems.
Causes many, what we're talking about, or what?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's going to cause other problems, and for sure. And who knows? Maybe the genetic defects that were there genetic defects from incestuous relationships in this time period? I don't know, and maybe it is something that is known, but I don't know off the top of my head. So that may or may not be a reason, but obviously it is a reason why we would not recommend it today. But perhaps the bigger reason, or another big reason, is just what it does to a family unit, a bigger family, the extended family, that sort of thing. So then we turn to verse 18, and it says, "You shall not take a woman as a rival wife to her sister, uncovering her nakedness while her sister is still alive." Did anyone do this up to this point in the Torah?
Rachel and Leah.
Yeah. I mean, that's like on my radar. How did that go? Not well, yeah. Where is this done today? Between here and the Pacific Ocean? Where is it allowed to have more than one wife? Polygamy, yeah. Now it's debated how this applies to that, but that is definitely in the commentary on this, that this probably isn't good. I like the word rival too. You think about this has been on our blackboard almost 2 years now, and it's got the daughter and sons of Rachel, Leah, Zilpah, and Bilhah on the back there. And so it's a constant reminder of the four different mothers of the sons of Jacob, right? And if you remember when we were reading that story, there was a lot of competition, it seemed. All right, verse 19, "You shall not approach a woman to uncover her nakedness while she is in her menstrual uncleanness. You shall not lie sexually with your neighbor's wife, and so make yourself unclean to her. You shall not give any of your children to offer them to Molech." Okay, this is child sacrifice. I think I looked this up, but I've already forgotten M-O-L-E. Molech was an ancient Mideastern deity associated with child sacrifice and worship in various cultures. So if you're sacrificing the child, you're worshiping in a bad way. It's not just the sacrifice of a child is a religion, you might say. Okay? So this was a religion back then. Including Canaan as early as the 14th century BCE. The name likely originates from Hebrew term blending king and shame used by Israelites to criticize pagan practices. All right. So, you shall not give your children to offer them to Molech, and so profane the name of your God. I am Yahweh. You shall not lie with a male as with a woman. It is an abomination. So this would be homosexuality. And you shall not lie with any animal, and so make yourself unclean with it. Well, what's the technical term for that? Bestiality. You heard that term? So you shall not lie with an animal or make yourself unclean with it. And, okay, I think everyone in the room knows that's absolutely wrong, but in Egypt, it was allowed with certain animals, okay? So if you're raised in this culture and you're not raised in the 21st century, in this Bible study now, I mean, it just sounds really weird, but there was people in the cultures around them, and maybe even those resident aliens living amongst them, that had these ideas that bestiality or homosexuality or whatever it may be was okay. And so backing up into this whole chapter of 17 and 18, I think if you look at the details, it gets lost, but if you back up and say, what is God doing here? He's saying, stop practicing all these weird sacrifices that are unhealthy for human creation or for the human society to advance and to be loving and to live as I created them. Have proper relationships, and it starts with me having relationship with you. And so oftentimes when we think about, when people depict, it happened last night, I was watching something where I saw it, but the Bible is people will say the Bible tells us what we're not supposed to do. Well, if you could also say, yeah, the Bible's telling us what we're not supposed to do. You can't have sex with animals, and you shouldn't be having sex with all these people in your family. And you shouldn't be doing these sacrificial things of children. So, yeah, the Bible's telling us what not to do. It's telling the Israelites what not to do. But it's also telling them what to do. It's also showing them how they can live and not have problems. Verse 24, do not make yourselves unclean by any of these things, for by all these the nations I am driving out before you have become unclean. Okay, so we're shifting gears now, and I'll just ask you, have you ever had the stomach flu? Have you ever thought about what is going on in the stomach flu? The stomach flu is your body's what? Getting rid of the poisons, the growth, the thing that is not good for you. While you're experiencing the stomach flu, it is not fun, is it? But after the stomach flu has taken place and your appetite comes back, I don't know if this is true, but it's 2-3 days after it happens, when you finally get your appetite back, you feel pretty good, don't you? And you can't just go eat Taco Bell or, a spicy thing. You kind of just start eating the simple things. Your body's been cleansed. Well, that's just a thought as we lead into this next portion. Do not make yourselves unclean by any of these things, for by all these things the nations I am driving out before you have become unclean. So Egypt, or especially Canaan, they practice these things. And so if you understand that they practice these things, maybe it makes more sense why God is saying don't do these things. And the land became unclean, so that I punished its iniquity, and the land vomited out its inhabitants. But you shall keep my statutes and my rules, and do none of these abominations, either the native or the stranger who sojourns among you. For the people of the land who were before you did all these abominations, so that the land became unclean. Lest the land vomit you out when you make it unclean, as it vomited out the nation that was before you. For everyone who does these, or does any of these abominations, the persons who do them shall be cut off from among their people. So keep my charge, never to practice any of these abominable customs that were practiced before you, and never to make yourselves unclean by them. I am the Lord your God. So who is Yahweh God? As sometimes we hear it said, the Bible just tells it's a bunch of rules of being able to do fun things. Well, I think we read this and we're like, I don't know, I disagree with that. These are just abominable things. God has entered into a covenant relationship with Israel. I'll be your God, you will be my people. Here's how we live together. If you break from this, then this isn't going to work. Okay? But think about the tabernacle system. Think about how to become clean again. God gives the Israelites a means, and the resident aliens a means to become made clean again. That's gracious, wouldn't you say? Like, God, even in this book of Leviticus, continues to reveal his heart, his capacity, his willingness to be merciful to the people, to recognize uncleanliness will happen and mistakes will be made. Sin exists. Now, there's the things we just read that they're like at another level. They're an abomination. Okay. He's laying boundaries for the people. And so in it, we see in this relationship a way that God continues to live with his people, his covenant people, in a merciful, gracious way. Any comments from you guys? All right. Well, I'm glad you all came. I'm glad you're online with us. This isn't exactly super fun to read, but I think it's intriguing if you think about Egypt and Canaan. I think it wouldn't hurt to read about, especially read about the religious, the religion of the Canaanites. Just Google that, and it will probably, because then you can kind of immerse yourself amidst that as the dominant religion and understand just how different the Israelites truly were. Let's pray. Father in heaven, we come before you this day giving thanks for your word given to us, for us to chew on, to think about, and us to also see you in your grace and your mercy towards us, towards the Israelites. We ask that you bless our continued study. We pray for those who are undergoing surgeries, and those who are recovering from surgeries, and those who are healing, and those who are aging, and those we name specifically in our hearts at this time, Lord. We ask that as we grow in faith toward you, and as we grow through the reading and understanding and the growth of the Word, the study of the Word, that you would enrich us and strengthen us moving forward in the life in which we live, in which we understand those who we engage in our experiences day to day, at the grocery store, at work, at home, in the places we frequent, that we would be reflectors and we would bring light, the light of Christ, to people who maybe do not know. Lord, bless us this day and always. In your name we pray. Amen. Have a great rest of your day.